In this video, I'm going to be ranking every single endgame card from worst all the way to best in NBA 2K23 My Team. So we got these 15 endgame cards right here from season 8, and then we also do have the two previous endgames from season number 7, Kevin Durant and Paolo Banchero. So there's currently 17 endgame cards, and I'll be ranking from who I think is the worst endgame all the way up to who I think is the best endgame card currently in my team. So coming in at the number 17 spot is going to be Allen Iverson, but let me know in the comment section down below how many endgame cards you guys currently have on your squad or in your collection, and let me know your guys' favorite or best endgame card currently in my team. But like I said, at number 17, the worst endgame is going to be Allen Iverson in my opinion. Only 6 foot at point guard, 6'3" wingspan. And also guys, we know they're going to have the same jump shot. We know they're going to all have the same animations and the same dunk packages. So it really just comes down to their height, their player model, what position they play. So that's why Allen Iverson, I do think, is going to be the worst at number 17. At the number 16 spot is going to be Steph Curry. His endgame card. Now he does move very well in game, like he feels super quick on the court, and he's a really good 3-hunting card. Just gonna be, once again, only 6'3" in game. At the number 15 spot, I do have endgame Dwayne Wade, and the reason why he's a little bit over Curry, he's got a better player model. He's 6'4" at point guard with a 6'10" wingspan, so 7 inches on the wingspan does make a huge difference. And also Wade's player build in game is just always better in my team, and he does get better slashing animation. So I think Dwayne Wade is like a step above Curry when we're talking about these endgame cards, even though they're going to have the same jump shot and the same dribble sigs. But if you guys have used D-Wade and Curry, they do feel a little bit different in game, and I feel like you can kind of notice a difference between a Dwayne Wade and a Steph Curry card. But at the number 14 spot, I do have Paolo Banchero. Nothing crazy about this card. You know, at number 14, he's 6'10" at small forward, 7 foot wingspan, and he's just going to be a solid small forward. Once again, nothing too crazy. At the number 13 spot, I do have Tim Duncan, 6'11" at power forward, 7'2" wingspan, and Timmy D does get great defensive animations, but I think the card at number 12 actually gets even better defensive animations. So at number 12, I do have the endgame Bill Russell. For me personally, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if you guys have used Bill Russell or D-Rob, the endgame cards that have a lefty jump shot, I find the endgame jump shot on a lefty to be a lot more consistent of a jump shot, and I feel like you get less load up animations, and it's just a better jump shot overall on these endgame cards. I do have a lefty jump shot, like I said, Bill Russell and D-Rob. So for me, that's a big reason why I think Bill Russell is slightly better than Tim Duncan. I mean, they're both endgames around the same height and player model, so it's going to be very similar, and there's not that big of a difference with Bill Russell at 12 and Tim Duncan at 13. But I think because of his jump shot, Bill Russell gets a little bit better defensive animations in game and just feels to be a little bit better on the defensive end. I do think Bill Russell is going to be the 12th best endgame card currently in my team. At the number 11 spot, once again, we got a very close debate. We got Kobe at 11 and MJ at 10. Is there really a difference between these cards? No, there's 10 in the weight, right? 10 pounds in the weight difference. Kobe's 205, MJ's 195, so 10 pounds. Is that going to make a difference? I personally don't think so. You got MJ 6'6" at point guard, 6'11" wingspan. You got Kobe 6'6" at point guard, 6'11" wingspan. So what does it really come down to? Nothing. I mean, they're the exact same card. I just think MJ might be slightly better because I think he gets better, you know, dunking animations and better slashing to the rim, and maybe a little bit better on defense, but they're pretty much the exact same card. I mean, 99.9% the exact same, just that 0.1 difference, maybe a little bit in the animations and kind of how they play defense and slash at the basket, but they're pretty much tied for number 10. At the number 9 spot, I do think it's going to be Joel Embiid, just because of his size at the power forward position. He's 7 foot at power forward, 7'5" wingspan, and I feel like Embiid cards always have great player models in game, so really nice to see on Embiid that he did get an endgame card, and I think he's a top tier power forward. Maybe not as good as some other power forwards we'll talk about here in a second, but I do think Joel Embiid is going to be the 9th best endgame. At the number 8 spot, I do have Himmy Buckets, and once again, this is where we get to that comparison, and this one's even crazier from Kobe and MJ. This one is even closer. So we got Embiid at number 9, we got Jimmy at number 8, but then you guys want to know who's at number 7? Luka Doncic. And if you compare these cards, Luka Doncic, 6'7" at point guard, 6'8" wingspan, weighs 230 pounds. You switch over to Jimmy Butler, 6'7" at point guard, 6'8" wingspan, 230 pounds. So what's the difference? There's literally no difference. They're the exact same card when it comes to their stats, when it comes to their badges. Their tendencies are all perfect at 100. Their animations are the exact same. I mean, they're identical cards. So they're once again tied for number 7. Jimmy at 8, basically they're both at 7, but Jimmy at 8, and then Luka Doncic at the number 7 spot. At number 6, I do think is going to be Paul George, 6'9" at shooting guard, 6'11" wingspan, and PG does have a great player model in game. That's the one thing I will say about Paul George. His player model is excellent. Like, it's a really wide player build. He gets great slashing animations, and I do think he kind of moves, very shifty in game. At the number 5 spot, though, I do have Rashard Lewis, 6'10" at shooting guard, 7'2" wingspan. Just gonna have a little bit more to the height and the wingspan to a Paul George card. Now, I will say, I think PG's got a slightly bigger player model in game, a slightly wider player build. So if you wanted to put PG over Rashard Lewis, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, because I think Paul George does get great defensive animations, but I do like the fact Rashard Lewis is slightly taller, a little bit more to the wingspan, but once again, they're going to be pretty much identical. At the number 4 spot, I do have the Endgame D-Rob, such a good power forward, 7'1" at that power forward position, 7'5" wingspan, and like I said about Bill Russell, him and D-Rob have such good jump shots, in my opinion, compared to the righty version of the Endgame jump shot. For whatever reason, I want you guys to let me know, though, do you guys feel the same way? If you guys have tried out a D-Rob or a Bill Russell, and then you've also tried out, a righty Endgame jump shot, it might just be all in my head. I've seen a couple people say the same thing, that they find the lefty jump shot to be a little bit more consistent, a little bit easier to time. Some I would say probably less load up animations is a big factor as well. Let me know if you guys have noticed that, using D-Rob or Bill Russell, their jump shots just feel more consistent on that lefty release, and I think it does make a pretty big difference. But once again, we're talking about all endgame cards that have the exact same stats, the exact same badges, tendencies, animations, dunk packages, jump shot, dribble sigs, like they're all the exact same in game, right? So it just comes down to nitpick stuff like that, where the lefty jump shot does feel a little bit better. At the number 3 spot, though, for me is going to be Endgame Kevin Durant, 6'10" at shooting guard, 7'4" wingspan. He's just like a slightly better version of Rashard Lewis. I think he's got a better player model, a little bit more to the wingspan for Kevin Durant compared to Rashard Lewis, but once again, gonna be pretty much identical. I think Kevin Durant also moves really well in game and does get pretty good defensive animations. And then for number 2 and number 1, it really comes down to preference. I got Shaq at number 2. He's got such a good player model in game, probably the best, player model for an end game. 7'1" at power forward, 7'7" wingspan. We know Shaq's going to be an elite level defender. He's got such a wide player build and such a big player build, which is going to really help him out on defense and getting paint stops down low. But then at the number 1 spot, I do have the king Endgame LeBron, 6'9" at point guard, 7' wingspan. And the thing about LeBron is, compared to all the other endgame point guards and all the other point guards in the game, he's got such a good player model, and I feel like that really separates him from cards like Luka or Jimmy or MJ or Kobe, because they're all going to be the same once again, animations wise and stats and badges. So it really comes down to their player model, their height, and their wingspan, and that's what LeBron really excels at. And if you guys have used this LeBron card or seen him in game, he just gets great animations, whether it's on offense, slash into the basket, or whether it's on defense, staying in front of defenders, blocking shots, getting steals, pluck steals. He just feels to be an absolute beast on defense, and I think is clearly the best point guard in the game, where Shaq's got some pretty big competition between D-Rob, between Manute Bol, and some other power forwards. But yeah, guys, that's going to be my rankings of every single endgame card, from who I think is the worst to who I think is the best. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about my ranking, and let me know your guys' favorite or best endgame card in the game currently, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.